Hey everybody, welcome. Today I have Terry from Masterpiece here, and the reason I have Terry here is because her product or the product from her company, Masterpiece, is mind blowing to me, and I'm very cautious about what I like to tell people about. I don't ever promote anything for any other reason than I love it myself and it works for me. A quick story. A bunch of years ago, when Masterpiece was first coming on the market, Terry reached out to me. I was like, Dave, I want to talk about this. And she's telling me about their whole plan and wanted me to promote it. And I blew her off like the wind. I'm just like, nope, not interested. It just sounded too far fetched. And over the years, I started learning about it. I learned about it from Crow. Then I went back, I started looking into it. And we're going to talk about all of that and some of the new research that they've done that has really blown my mind about it. So, welcome, Terry.
Thank you. It was exactly a year ago when we had our first show there. It was in the month of August.
Oh, really?
Yep. So it's our
Happy
anniversary.
anniversary. There you go. so, so first, I'm going to say what Masterpiece does, and correct me if I don't say it right,
Sure.
is basically it pulls all sorts of toxins out of your body naturally. Two ingredients, right? Is it ocean plasma and zeolite?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the technique, the how they make it and everything. That's a whole other thing. I don't know if we'll get into that exactly, but one of the things that I was told, oh no, before I even realized Masterpiece had anything to do with this, they started talking about people that got the human clot shot, that became human pincushions, that they had MAC addresses in them. And I'm like, all right, me, Mr. 9/11, Sandy, Boston, everything else, and flat Earth. I'm like, that's a step too far, right? When I first heard about flat Earth, I was like, that's a step too far, right? But then you look into it, and when I heard about that, I was just like, I couldn't believe it. But then I started seeing more and more and more evidence. And I want you to talk about the tests that you guys have done with this very thing, and and just tell people about it.
Yeah. So you're talking about the MAC addresses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know who first discovered that this was a phenomenon, but a few years ago, many of us might remember seeing some videos of people walking through cemeteries and having a device, whatever they were using at the time, and they were picking up MAC addresses. And so people started looking into this, and it was actually true. And so, just to back up just a tiny bit, because you mentioned that we do studies, and we're just continuing to do studies. And so we have a few behind us. We're continuing to, there we go, the product. We don't have that blue box, by the way.
All right.
So
It's not about the box, it's about what's in the bottle.
it's about the bottle. Um,
Maybe you need to give me some new graphics, all right? But it's
I
okay.
know, I will. Yes, yeah, I should have done that. I didn't
It's
realize you
okay.
saw the blue box one. Just so everybody knows they don't get that. Um, So we're continuing to test people for, first of all, what people are walking around with, because those kinds of testings haven't really been done in the recent past. We've shown that people are walking around with forever chemicals. We're showing them walking around with microplastics, all kinds of chemicals, atrazine, glyphosate, which is kind of common, also graphene oxide. That's the one that was kind of a big one because even to find a lab that tests for that, all the labs were saying, well, we don't test for it because it's not in people. Well, we found out that it is. And so that's the kind of testing that we've been doing. And then also testing to see if how our product would measure up to getting those toxins out. And so those are some of the testings that we've done in the past. And so fast forwarding to this MAC address phenomena. So there's a documentary that came out, I think from the Iconic team. It was a trial, a test that was done in Mexico, and the documentary is called the Blue Truth documentary, and that was educating the public on this testing that was done in Mexico. There was one done in France, by the way, too. It's called the French study. And the Mexican study proved that people are walking around with these MAC addresses. But in these studies, it was stopping there. There was just proving that people had these, which was monumental for people to understand that people are actually walking around with those addresses.
Yeah, you know what? Let me just chime in here for a second. I have a device that tests for Bluetooth, and I have not found a place in the electromagnetic soup that we live in where I can't find addresses. Now, I can't tell where they're coming from. I mean, just try it in like a populated place. It's just the list is endless. How many Bluetooth things are happening? And if you look at the what do you call the people that are running this world, their goal is for every single thing to have an IP address, every single thing. And so I always
Right.
so being like um I guess I'm becoming less of a physical everything has to be explained in physical reality. I was like, wait a minute, if someone has a little biological small you know computer miniature thing in the body, where's it getting the energy? Then I learned about, is it piezoelectric, am I saying that right, piezoelectric?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So all of this stuff with the knowledge I've gotten, where like this is possible. Not only is it possible, it's basically been proven. You guys have proven it. So once you come to the realization that they are literally connecting us to the internet through however it gets into our body, we can, there's all different ways, I think. Um, what you have to say is going to become super relevant. So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, no, not interrupt at all. So, and that's what the initial, and we are, because I just say we as a company, and not me, and also others that are just initially kind of testing this aspect. I'm told that it's kind of more in phase one. It's not necessarily turned on, or it's not necessarily controllable yet. It's at a phase one stage, which is interesting. And by the way, we have a 20 some page or 30 some page summary report of our study written by the two study coordinators, and I'll get into that of who that was and all that in a second. And it explains what the blue tooth can and can't do at this point of what these addresses are. So I want to revisit your point, though, of not being able to go anywhere. So what they had to do for these studies is go into a very remote location where there was nothing around so that they couldn't pick up anything. So when somebody approached with a MAC address, which is a media access control address, they would know that it was coming from that person. You could even see it becoming closer. So there are places that you don't have these signals, and you do have to find them. Our particular study was done in Hertfordshire, in the UK. I think I said that right. And we ended up with 4 participants. We wanted more, but it's really difficult to get people to agree to going into an empty field. They got to park way far away. They got to leave all their devices and do this a number of times. We didn't know how many times it was going to take. And so our participant group got lower each ask or each time, but we ended up at baseline with 4 participants. And interestingly enough, so the two of them measured at baseline to each have 2 different MAC addresses, and the other 2 had 1 MAC address. So that's what their baselines were. And they had to meet in this field where our study coordinators were already set up. Our study coordinators are our resident naturopath, Carolyn Mansfield from London. And she employed an expert in this particular field. He has a tech background. He goes by Manu. I can't remember how to say his actual name. It's kind of his nickname, but he's from Bulgaria. And so he would fly in numerous times. He flew in for a pilot study before we even really started the study. They got their specifics done. And so they set up a little kiosk, and he had all the equipment, and he learned things along the way too. He looked at the French study, the Mexican study. He had been doing his own trials with equipment that he figured out how to use, and was always kind of looking for better equipment. So during the study, they even switched up some of the equipment and ended up with pretty solid results with whatever equipment that he did decide. And again, this is in our report. If anyone is kind of nerdy and knows this kind of stuff, it's a very, very comprehensive report. So Carolyn got the help of this tech expert, And they tested. And so they tested baseline and then the participants went off to do their lifestyles. Nothing else was changed except for Masterpiece. Masterpiece was dosed at our maintenance testing dose, which is 5 drops twice a day. Now, the formula has increased in strength, and I think it's coming out now. So I just want to let people know we have decreased the dosage to 4 drops twice a day on the bottle once those bottles are in circulation. And along the way, in the last 2 years, we have increased the strength as far as more zeolites in every drop. And so we have decreased the dosage there. But they were at the 5 drops twice a day with the formula that we just had. And they came back at 35 days, and one of the participants was down to one MAC address. And we're like, oh, wow, okay. And then they continued on their way and did their 5 drops twice a day. And halfway through that, day 50 something, Matthew decided, you know what, we're dealing with a situation that could require more Masterpiece. And people had already been on 5 drops twice a day for a while. And so he increased them to 15 drops twice a day. So 3 times as much. I wouldn't necessarily, if anyone's listening to this, start off with that. I would definitely always work up. But so that's what they did. And so it was the last 3.5 weeks. So 3.5 weeks later, which was day 78, they all showed up again. This is for the third time in this field. Everything's set up exactly the same. By the way, before I give the punchline, this whole study was documented by a professional filmmaker. I believe it's still the Iconic team. We had a drone flying over our whole testing area every single time, the whole time. And I think we had 2 other camera angles on the ground in the field to make sure so that when we do our documentary, which we're going to be, it's almost done now, that everything is documented and everything is proven to be accurate. And in case anyone wants to, and I understand, people want to know, how did you do the study? How it exactly was done. So it's all documented on film. So they came for the 78th day, and each one walked up on their own, as they always had, and there was no MAC addresses to be found on anyone. Zero.
Amazing. That is amazing. Now, how do you have any? I don't think you can answer this. How, like, if somebody doesn't have a MAC address, they go back out into the world, they stop taking any detoxing formulas. How fast can another MAC address get put into them?
Let me add something that I think is going to answer that and also add some context to these 4 participants. If I remember correctly, I'm going to get really close if I don't hit it on the nail. They they were all COVID jabbed, and some were multiple times. It's possible that one of them just had the PCR tests, like a lot of them. So we had it, and it's again, it's in the summary report if you really want to see the exact details. So these folks all had access or had
They were human pincushions.
yes, in some way, shape, or form. So what we've seen from testing before when Carolyn was using there's a phone app, by the way, and anyone can get this. It's really exciting because we all can just
I have it.
test ourselves. Okay, that's the one you used. Okay. That's what they were using at first. And actually, she said that that one's pretty accurate, like 95% accurate. So that's good to know. And what we were finding is that people that weren't human pincushions didn't necessarily have MAC addresses. In fact, none of them did except for one, and she happened to be married to somebody who had.
Okay.
So if you haven't had that experience in your life, you've never been a human pincushion, then you likely wouldn't have a MAC address. But those that are, and those that actually got the real ones and not the placebos, just the saline.
Yep. So there seems to be a heavy correlation to becoming a human pincushion with the real stuff and having a MAC address. Sorry, don't you trust the science?
I do. I love that. That's great. I was wondering what the last line said there.
It's funny that it's cut off on the way I stand. So
You need a lift.
that's right. That's right. I don't think YouTube's algorithm can handle that being on screen all the time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So the bottom line is this stuff has been proven to remove these MAC addresses.
Yeah, and what we think is happening is, for a little more information, I won't get too technical, I promise, is the components to these, what they end up to be, these this nanotechnology, nanobots, this just technology is delivered in parts mostly. What we find, they need graphene oxide, they need metals, they need aluminum oxide, ferric oxide, they need certain very conductive materials, and this is what Masterpiece has shown before even the MAC address study to remove effectively. So we were thinking if we can take out the components to these, we've already shown it takes out those things. It takes out the hydrogels. It takes out these plastics and all these things. Wonder what it could do for an actual assembled MAC address.
Well, if it's
And
taking out the
so
components, it's disassembling it, maybe, and
perhaps,
yeah.
or in its entirety, we don't know. But so people have to understand that they're trying to make you conductive. And whether you have a MAC address or not, you're still conductive. We're still full of these metals on purpose. It's in our food, it's in our water, it's in our air. You don't have to have just the recent jabs.
And,
We've
and
mhm.
how does it get rid of them? Is it literally taking it and you're peeing it out?
Good question. So it's called a chelator, and a chelation means that it goes by positive and negative charge. So zeolite has a strong negative charge, and most poisons are strongly negatively charged, or at least on the spectrum there. And so it will just glom onto it.
I
We
mean,
actually have
positively charged.
pictures. Pardon me?
The zeolite's negatively charged and the poisons are positively charged.
Yeah, it's a magnet.
You said negative, negative. You
No,
said
no.
you said they were both negative, I think.
Oh, well, if I misspoke, so zeolite has a positive negative charge, and poisons has a positive charge, a strong, depending. But yeah, so they're
Okay,
they're
so
they're
they attract.
opposites,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
and opposites attract, correct. Zeolite itself is inert in the body. It's not digested, anything like this kind of goes and it kind of grabs along the way. It chelates. So by magnetism, it'll chelate things to it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was just about to say we have this actually at a 500,000 and a 1 million times magnification with an electron transmission microscope by Robert Young. We have the actual cage structure of our zeolite in Masterpiece, and he put graphene oxide, I believe, on the slide, and it's peppered along this cage. That's graphene oxide. So you can actually see it glomming onto that. It's actually a beautiful picture. And of course, we have pictures too of just Masterpiece. It's a cage. And when you just look at Masterpiece at that high magnification, you also see it peppered with the sea plasma that you mentioned at the intro. That is what is in the formula. 99% of it is the seawater, and that's full of the bioavailable minerals. So,
Where can people see
yeah,
those images?
on our website,
Okay.
yeah, all that stuff's on our website, and that's
I'll have the right here.
masterpiecebihcs.com.
I'll have
Yep.
the
We've got a
link right
few
there.
a few URLs now that point to the website. Some are a lot easier to type in. So yeah, those are all there. We have a study page on there as well. So along the way in the body, as it travels along, it's going to want to go out the elimination pathways. The main one is defecation. Urination is the other one. Perspiration is another elimination pathway, and respiration is a big one. When you breathe out, you're breathing out toxins. And so those are the four main channels. Women have menstruation. That's a fifth channel that women can have in their fertile years. And so mainly that is how it's going to be taken out. And if any of those systems are overloaded, then it's going to come out other ways. You're going to have maybe and usually this is when people are detoxing, some maybe lymph issues, skin breakouts. Anytime in your life that you have that, that's because your systems are overloaded. But Masterpiece is um, very gentle for most people, and they're not going to notice really anything. I think you had mentioned last year that you don't really notice much. That's good. That's actually good. We know it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and if you have a system that works really well, we find that people don't necessarily have any kind of noticeable.
I've seen people that start taking it that are very toxic and they have a big detox. So I always tell them start off light. Me, I'm all
Yeah.
or none. Let me drink the bottle, right? But it's only 4 drops now, and it seems like nothing. You put it in your mouth, and it seems like nothing. But I got over the nothing thing years ago, long before I woke up to to health and everything else is I had an issue with my back. I literally would become paralyzed. I'm on the floor. I can't even get up. Doctor gave me these tiny little pills, these tiny little muscle
Yeah.
relaxers, right? Tiny, tiny, tiny little pill. I'm in such pain. I can't move. I took it. A couple hours later, my entire body's like jello, and I was like, I was good to go. And I was like, wait a minute, how did that little pill do it? And I did a little research on the pill. It's 99% filler. It's only
Yeah.
1% active ingredient. So now when I look at Masterpiece, 4 drops, that seems like a massive dose of something. I mean, it could be, right? And that's
It that's 99% nutrition is what
yeah,
it is. It's the C plasma, the bioavailable minerals, and we have it's very high pH, which your body loves. Interstitial fluid and a healthy interstitial fluid should be between 8 and 9, somewhere in there. And so our formula is between 8 and 9. So when you put it in your mouth under your tongue, it's going to go right lightning speed
right.
into your interstitial fluid. And your body's going to recognize and say, oh, wow, yeah, we really love this stuff. It is pretty salty, by the way. It's gotten more saltier over the years.
It's
And then,
great.
but it also, so it has that zeolite in there, and so it's going to absorb the C plasma minerals. And it's like, oh, the zeolite's in there too, and then it has the high negative charge more so than the minerals, and it's going to be able to glom on to anything that shouldn't be there.
Interesting. Um, I'm sure you'll agree. I'm a very integrative person. Like I don't just do one thing. I do multiple things. So when people say, what is it that fixed your issue? I'm like, well, it's a multitude of things. So I do all sorts of detoxing things. This is one that's very, very up on the top of the list. And I just recommend that people, let their information, let their knowledge, let their intuition create the protocol that works for you. I mean, I drink cayenne water. I take turpentine. I do coffee enemas from Alpha Vedic. With their special coffee. I do. I take charcoal. I take charcoal every morning. First thing I do is take charcoal, and what would be the difference between this and taking activated charcoal? I mean, I'm sure there's a big difference, but what specifically can you speak upon?
Yeah, and without having done a deep dive on charcoal, at least not for years, it's going to be not as negatively charged. So the zeolite is called the master binder because it's got such a high negative charge. Charcoal also can't is not intelligent in the sense that it can bind to the good things too. So I do charcoal too, maybe a capsule every other morning on an empty stomach,
Yep,
totally away from anything else. Okay, cool. And it could just be like an extra binder, but it's really good for food poisoning and acute situations like that.
yep.
So, it's not as strongly negative charge, and it's not going to be as um, uh, what's the word? It's not going to necessarily pick and choose. Not a zeolite
Right.
intelligently does that, but there's just something different about that particular.
My point is, there's no interaction. Like you can do all your other stuff and do masterpiece also.
Yeah, no, there's actually, yeah, absolutely. There's no interaction. But what I would say, people that are starting out with Masterpiece, maybe they're just hearing about this, is you made a good point. You do a lot of things, but I bet the way you did it was more wisely when you started introducing things. You did one thing at a time, maybe two, but the best thing is to do one thing at a time.
Yep.
Uh, Only change one thing, so there's only one variable, so you kind of know. So sometimes people have these stories about quote zeolite issues, and we do a little research, we find out, oh no, they did this other thing and this other thing, and
Right.
and
Right. Right.
so
Like when I started doing turpentine, I started off with a drop, and then I
yeah,
understood how that worked. And then now I know how turpentine affects my body, and I do it on a fairly regular cycle. And then the cayenne water, and that's basic. I mean, but don't just chug a thing of cayenne water because if you're not used to it, it could upset your stomach, or it could come out the other end a little fiery.
yeah,
But again, if you understand what capsaicin does for parasites and everything, so I look at this as a parasite cleanse, as a toxin cleanse, and as um, a nanobot. Is that the right words that we're using? Nanobot
yeah,
cleanse.
I
So
think
that's all stuff that we have to worry about. And I always say the way they win this war against us is that people don't believe in the war. They don't believe that we're in a
yeah.
spiritual war. They don't believe that nanobots exist. They don't believe that there's actually people out here that don't want us living to our full potential. So once you understand that, all of that is the opposite of the truth, um, those beliefs that you have are opposite of the truth, then you can start taking actions to improve your life. And I'm super happy about it all.
And it's some of those protocols are great, and they're harder to do. Coffee enemas people don't want to do. Like, this is so freaking easy, as long as you can handle a little salt water under your tongue. But talking about these issues of transhumanism and all that, it's like sci-fi, and people don't want to believe it. The massive amounts of people that are just like, that can't be true, and it's just so odd and weird. But it's like,
It's
we have the evidence that these things are taking place, and like you had mentioned at the outset, like they can actually do that. It's actually possible to make human beings, men and women, into these controllable,
right.
patentable robots.
Resistance is futile. We're becoming the Borg. We're literally being connected to this mainframe, and people don't understand. We're in a mainframe already. This world is
Yes.
not what we think it is.
Mhm.
Everything, right? We're in this living machine, I call it. We're in a living machine and we're part of it. And they're literally trying to combine us more on the machine side than the living side, right? They're trying to control our souls, the soul lure system, right? But in fact, we're in a soul system, a system designed for souls. So I think this is just an amazing discovery. It's super easy. It takes no effort. It takes no time. It doesn't taste bad. It tastes salty. I like salt. Salt is actually
Tastes
good for
salty.
you. And you know what?
Yeah.
When I'm kite surfing down in the tropics, when I'm out in the beautiful water and I drop down, I take a big mouthful of seawater and swallow it. Right? You're
Yeah.
told never do that. I do that every time. It's fantastic.
Well, salt's been demonized too. That's one of the other things that's been demonized, and it's so good for you. Every morning, I do I have a distiller, so I do distilled water, and I do a bunch of salt in there, sea salt, of course, the good
Celtic
salt in
salt or
there.
sea salt?
Uh, well, it depends what I'm
Yeah.
using. I'm using real salt right now at the
Okay.
time. But yeah, Celtic salt
Yeah.
is good Himalayan. There's some salts that aren't so great, but yeah. So to get that salt in the morning, and I'll do that with a capsule of charcoal like every other day, just like you
There you
do. But
go.
I do mine every other day,
Yeah.
and then on the other day, I do our Master Restore, which is our zeolite powder. And I do 2 scoops of that. The 1 scoop is the actual dose, but I do it every other day. So I'm gonna just do 2 scoops in there. So I vary. So, one of the things I wanted to mention that you were talking about is all of these different tools, basically, you're talking about that you have. And so what people need to have, and we'll get over time, is they'll have like a tool chest. They'll have a tool chest of these tools that they know how to use. And at the beginning of all this maybe detox journey they have, or the health journey, or they're ill, now they're ready for something. It's so overwhelming. It's so hard to understand, even just how the body works. We're not taught how the body really works, just your pH, and how your interstitial fluid is supposed to be a certain pH, and how that can change. And just, we're not told any of that. And so over time, where you are at the point, and I certainly am at the point, where we have this toolbox, and it kind of becomes fun, and you can kind of play in it. You can go this one day, and I feel this way, and I think my body needs this, and I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to kind of change it up, and I'm going to add this one thing in, and I know when to add it in because everything is stable so far. So like this should become, like, unfortunately, like, it has to be kind of our lifestyle now because of everything that we are up against. Everything is poisoned, unfortunately. Maybe with the exception of primary water that comes from deep inside the earth, you know? Other
Yep.
than that, anything that's touched the earth is deliberately poisoned. And so even if you feel great, maybe we just don't know how great we can feel. You
It,
think you feel great.
they've literally destroyed water. It's just filled with toxins and chemicals, and it's going through pipes at right angles, and it comes out our faucet. You distill your water, which is got we live in a distiller, right? We live in a domed earth and a distiller. The water evaporates, comes and condensates, and that's the water. Fresh rainwater is distilled water. Um, and distilled water, doctors will tell you that it's bad for you. It'll leach the minerals out of your body. Yeah, because its charge does leach inorganic minerals out of your body. So that's another thing, right?
Distilled, yeah.
Distilled water has changed my life.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've been doing it for, I do mineralize mine with good minerals. I
good.
think I do in the morning, I'll just do distilled with salt,
Yep,
sometimes just distilled. But yeah, so I mineralize mine. But the cycle that the earth has there, with the water, it's still recycling a lot of that stuff that's here. So
sure.
the water that's made under the ground, which is primary water, which is coming up, everywhere,
Yep.
that is quite possibly the only thing that is never that's not polluted, quite possibly. That's the only thing you will ever touch, that you will ever ingest that is pure.
You were saying people have a hard time believing, all of this information. They just don't want to believe. And it's just like the flat earth. People that are globies holding on to the globe, they don't want to believe. But when they finally let go and look at the information, then they can free themselves from this mental matrix that we're in, and this poison prison, maybe I'll call it that, that we consume, breathe, and think. Right? You have to change your thoughts. You have to change your world, and with information, you can do that.
It's discernment. It's not wanting to be fear-mongered, and it's not that. We are going to go in and out of that state when we're finding out these things. But you just have to be shrewd in your thinking and just be discerning and just know that the way forward is you have to combat some of these things, or you're going to probably die earlier than you'd like. And your health span, which is different than your lifespan. Here's your lifespan. You want your health span to be this long, not this long. So you want to make that last part of your life so that you're not on medications, or you're not just, feeling awful no matter what. And so that's going to take some effort. And
I
what we
take
have
no
here,
medications, no medications, and
right?
and my doctor's like amazed. He's, my doctor. When I say my doctor, it's the guy I go to when I want a good laugh. But he,
Yeah.
wants me on different medicines. I'm like, you're out of your mind. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah. So we as now the people that are forming our little groups and our big groups, really they're becoming, and we have the system that is going to go down, that is going to be just phased out eventually. We are the ones that are producing these types of products that are simple, that are from nature. They're not from pharmacopoeia. The answer does lie in nature, as Crow says. Nature doesn't lie. And so there are all answers in nature. And so whatever they can put at us, trust me, there is a answer in nature. And so to be open-minded is the first step. I think you kind of alluded to that, to being open-minded to these solutions. And just know you don't have to be scared every day. Just know that there are solutions, and if you ask for them, you're going to find what they are. And we're just going to keep forming our groups and doing our work that we're doing so that we can be there for these solutions, whatever they may be.
There are solutions to everything. Fear is the only
Yeah.
way they control us, and that's how they
Hmm.
keep us in that low vibration. So, you can get Masterpiece on my app if you just click the shopping cart button. It's there. Also on my website, in the sponsor section is right here. Click it, try it. Try it for a couple months and see how you feel. I wish everybody had the ability. They do have the ability to test for MAC addresses, but you people, like, I don't think there's any place within 100 miles of here that I can not
Yeah.
find a MAC address.
You may
So
have to go. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Let me just say a couple details for your audience that will help them if they want to move forward. So this bottle at 4 drops twice a day will last 2 months. So one bottle will last 2 months. It's at the discounted rate. It's $52.99, so $53 without. We don't charge tax. We do charge shipping, but the shipping fee is also the fulfillment fee. So it's not just shipping. People are like, you charge $8 a ship. No, it's actually the whole shebang for us to get it to you.
so
But
they can
for
order if they order
you,
2 bottles or 3 bottles, it's the same shipping rate.
I think it's a little bit more,
Okay.
because again, each bottle we have to pay the fulfillment center who
Right.
makes it and all that, their little fee. So
Okay.
that's included in that.
All right.
Yeah. So before, when we met last year, the only way you could buy Masterpiece was through a referral link, and you still can use a referral link. And that is the only way that you're going to get a discounted price. So if someone uses your link, they're going to and hit the sign up button. All that means is that you are entering into our private side. And so you're signing up, giving a few pieces of information, and you'll see, I think it's going to say Dave Weiss on there. So you'll know you're signing up under you. And the other option that we have now is that if somebody used your link and they don't want to sign up for some reason, they go to checkout, they're going to pay $5 more, but they're still going to be in your group, so to speak. And so when they come back and they want to sign up, they can do that. We also have a code for you that we just made, FEDAVE, so Flat Earth Dave. So if somebody just wanted to go to masterpiecebasis.com, they couldn't remember your link, didn't want to click on your link, they just go to the main site, they go push what they want to order, and there'll be a coupon code box, and you do FEDAVE, and then you're going to get the discount. You'll have to do it every time,
Right.
but you will get the discount. So there's few ways we've grown in the last year.
All right. And again, for those of you the haters out there, like, oh, Dave's grifting. I'm not grifting anything. Don't get Masterpiece. Keep those MAC addresses. Could be filled with toxins, right? I do it because I love it. There's nothing I ever recommend that I don't love. It's come to my dismay. Years and years and years ago, people said, Dave, you got to invest in McDonald's, right? If I did, I would have been a millionaire right now, but I
Yeah.
just couldn't do it. I just like,
Yeah.
absolutely not, right? And
Hmm.
there's so many things that you can invest in that I comically don't believe are a good thing to do. So again, if you disagree with us or you think I'm grifting or whatever, take a hike. Don't get it. Good
Yeah, I
luck.
mean, if we're all trying to, our whole system with at Human Conscious Support was set up to try to support the people that are supporting us or supporting the people that are supporting others, that we're giving back. Nobody gives 30% of their profits away. No company does that. And so what we're trying to do is support everyone. That's all we're trying to do. And I know because I've talked to you over the last year many times that you do use Masterpiece on a regular basis. It's something that you definitely use and you enjoy, and I'm sure your wife does too. And so it's
And you know
it's
what? It's a little harder for me to buy it than for a regular person to buy it. We got to work out those details. All right. But I buy Masterpiece.
yeah.
I don't get it for free. So don't think that I'm like, oh, he's taking it for free. Absolutely not. I buy it because it works and that's it. Any other final thoughts before we wrap it up?
But let me see my notes here. Nope, I think I covered it all. If anyone, we do have, I could just mention, I host a 3 time a month through our company, support call for customers or anyone that wants to come in. They are every Monday nights usually, sometimes noon Eastern once a month. And anyone can come in and ask questions. We follow people's
Zoom call.
journeys of Masterpiece. Yep, yep, free call. And sometimes I have guest speakers on there, and those are recorded. Otherwise, they're not recorded because we have some sensitive information that comes out. People will, talk about their health journeys and stuff. So it's just an unrecorded call with me hosting that. And then when I have a guest speaker, that is recorded and put out. And we have some really nice. We had an Ayurvedic practitioner last month give us the whole holistic detoxification from Ayurvedic standpoint, which was very much aligned with us. So it was really interesting. So we do have supports for customers. We have a town hall once a month where people can come and talk to Matthew Hazen, and he explains anything that's different about the formula or the company and what we're doing business-wise, sales-wise, things like that. So yeah, so that's what we kind of do there. And we're on Rumble, we have um, Facebook and Telegram groups. So we're pretty active out there. And we actually are pretty going viral at the moment.
Well,
Mhm.
going viral, just like Flat Earth is going viral because it's the truth and people resonate with the truth. So, you know, my friend Keith Aloha from Florida on TikTok says, lies make you weak and the truth makes you strong. Lies are weak, truth is strong. Lies make you weak and the truth makes you strong. So this is some truth. Take it or leave it. We're just sharing information. We're not health advisors. We're just saying this is what we're doing. These are the tests that we've done, and take it or leave it.
I should mention the hair test study if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
It's only for new customers. And we are doing an ongoing, this has never been done before again. It's unprecedented. I'm coordinating the study actually. So it's a hair test mineral analysis, or HTMA for short, study. It's the gold standard in studies, especially when you're taking a sample that is not just a snapshot into the body like blood and urine. This is a 3 to 4 month average of what's happening in your body through your hair. And so what we're doing is we're offering a wicked good deal for people that want to try Masterpiece. They would get 3 bottles, and it's going to last them the 4 months. And we're going to give them a hair test at baseline and a hair test at around 4 months. And you're going to see for yourself what Masterpiece did for you. What we do with those analysis is important that come from the lab. It's a world-class lab, by the way. We send them, they get sent to a gentleman named Will Houghton. He is in the UK. He is an expert. He's a qualified, trained expert. There's a difference in HTMA. He does another analysis that his team has crafted over the years, puts it through a whole algorithm. You get 21 pages of an analysis that you won't be able to digest. It'll take you weeks to digest it. That is what we're looking for. We wanted the best of the best. And we just got about 35 back so far. The results are phenomenal, phenomenal results. And I'm putting out some information on screen showing some of these results. I can't do them all, to show people what the graphs look like and what they mean. So anyone that wants to test yourself, hey, does this product work? Is it safe? Or, whatever the questions are, you can do that. What you do is you go to our website and go to hair tests tab. And then please read all the information, and because we get people that don't read that and they ask us a bunch. It's just like we have like literally 2 people on customer service. So please read all that information, watch the videos, and if it's for you, then go ahead and purchase that package.
Is that just click my link here, mphcs.com/FE Dave,
Yep.
And they could find it right there.
You can find it right there. Yeah.
Right.
You use your link, and that way that's connected to their IP address, and they can come back up to, I think, 10 years. And if they sign up 5 years later, they're still going to know we're going to know who they came from.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Terry. Awesome discussion.
Thank you, Dave.
I love it. I normally don't do many shows like this, but I only do it when it really matters. So thanks so much, Terry.
Appreciate it. Thank you for letting me share.
All right. Bye-bye.